Okay, part two. So then they took me to do an MRI. My head was hurting so I can't even describe it. But anyway, so I went down to do the MRI. Oh, I do recall this. I recall, forgot about this part. When I was sitting in the car, I recall myself praying. I remember pleading the blood of Jesus against head injury. I pleaded the blood of Jesus against fluid. I pleaded the blood of Jesus against um, I remember swelling and bleeding. Yes, I did. And of course, I had someone verify too that they said that I was in and out, and they said that I was praying. So I do remember that. So because when I got in there to do the first MRI, then I came back and saw the neurologist, and they found a small amount of blood. It was just a small amount. So that's an indication of how hard I hit my head, that it was only a small amount, but that's not how I felt. And so they sent me down for another um, MRI just to confirm and make sure that that was blood that they were seeing. And so it was. And then they were watching me for observation, just to make sure that, there was no swelling, and they had talked to me. Oh, and at the time, I was not taking any medication. I did not take medication. I would take something occasionally to sleep, NyQuil, Tylenol PM, but that's only if I hadn't slept for 3 or 4 or 5 days. I've went as long as 10 days without sleeping, which is horrible. And I went, slept like 21 days out of 24 days. And that's what my doctor was telling me, that I was going to fall asleep. It was just a question of when and where. And that's why we believe I fell asleep the day I hit my head. But I also, the ice was a factor, I'm sure of it. Because as tired as I was, knowing me, I probably would have got up. At least I thought. So I go get the second MRI, and then they come back and they talk to me. And then, of course, my insurance had just changed. So, and I also had just applied for some life insurance. So, after it was all said and done, I ended up being someone who had a head injury with no insurance. And so, what I believe happened, I'm not sure, is I spent what little money I had left on, going to the doctor as best I could. So, let's see. So, some of the results after the head injury. Um, so after the head injury, I mean, again, I'm telling this best I can. I remember, okay, I'm back home. I think there was some hesitancy in me about me going home because of the insurance. They wanted me to go to a hospital. They wanted me to transfer, and that's another thing that I thought was just so sucky. That because my insurance had just changed at the first of the month, then things changed, and then they wanted me to go to. And I'm not going to talk about any of the name of the insurance. I just don't want to. And so I ended up home, and okay, so I just say that. And what I remember most is the pain. My head hurt 5 weeks straight, non-stop. Not only was it sore and there was a contusion back there, but it was also, I don't know, I can't even describe it. Okay, so basically I couldn't stand light. I also, which is what the blinking in my eyes for, I live in Colorado, which is a very dry climate, high altitude, as well as, well, anyway, so I had, so my vision was severely blurred. Like I didn't have to wear my glasses all the time. And when I was driving, and that's the other thing, I continued to try to go. I think I went home and rested like 2 weeks, but I had a big presentation that I had been preparing for, and I really wanted to do it. And I did attempt to go do it, and that's when I realized that something was off, because I would just stop, meaning I would be driving and have to pull over and just sit in the car, and until I would come to drive home. And so it became dangerous for me to drive, so I was told not to drive anymore. So I stopped driving. um, so my eyesight was blurred, so I went to a specialist to check on my eyes. Nothing was really wrong with my eyes. They said, according to the test, they said it was just the side effects of the head injury, and I had severe dry eyes. And so we took care of that. So basically, I just laid at home and laid in the bed and turned the lights. I couldn't stand light. I couldn't stand sound. And I was not even aware. Like I said, my head, I got some relief. And when I say relief, meaning my headache subsided, meaning it was still there, but it had subsided to where I didn't realize that my ears were ringing. And they're still ringing now. So, and then there were moments where I could like not get up. I mean, it was just real. I couldn't get up. I even had an accident in the bed, which is how I knew something was wrong because I couldn't move fast enough to get to the bathroom because all I was really doing was going to the bathroom. I wasn't eating. I had um, it was just really difficult. I want to focus more on the. I mean, I know this is my video and I can say what I want, but I want to focus more on the just what my body was physically going through, so I can really express that and explain that you can. I believe you can heal yourself. So my beliefs at the time were that time my beliefs were I believed that the Most High had put everything in us, in my body, as human beings to heal ourselves. Like I said, I was kind of a naturalist. I didn't like taking medication, wasn't on anything. And that was another problem. Even in the hospital, I did not take any medication. I was making a joke about they wanted to give me a Tylenol, and I asked how much it was, and the nurse looked at me like, "What?" I said, "How much is that?" And it was like $10, and I was like, "No, I don't want it." Well, I hadn't been taking stuff anyway, and even though I think I had a headache, I was thinking to myself, "What is one fucking Tylenol going to do?" Because my head was hurting. I was just thinking, I don't care what I take. The only thing that I needed was just to be out, sleep, because I just didn't want to feel the pain. And so, and then I could also barely move with, everything hurting, the light. And when it was all said and done, after a period of time, and I don't remember exactly when, my whole body hurt. And when I say my whole body, that's exactly what I mean because it hurt to eat, it hurt to chew, it hurt to be touched. Um, and I was just so overly sensitive. Noise, to drop a spoon, to tap on the table, slamming a door, it was excruciating. And then I also, my whole mood, my whole attitude changed. I was not a person who used profanity. I hadn't like used profanity in like 7 years. The first time I'd used profanity after, now again, there are some things I'm leaving out, but prior, once I'd given my life to Christ, I really lived it to the best of my ability. And so when I found that my brother had transitioned, I let loose something. And I was even confronted for using profanity. And I, you know, said what I said because I meant it, because I was a person who had repressed a lot of things, had always kept things inside, never really expressed, how I was feeling, my beliefs, my thoughts, unless they fit into the the system or the realm of what I was taught. In other words, I never truly expressed, what I really was feeling and how, you know, I saw things, which is what I'm going to be doing on this channel. So I think there's going to be a 3 parts because I'm just going to make this, 9 minutes. So we're going to pause it again. We're going to stop this and then I'm going to continue.